Hello my friends, welcome back to the Joy of Glitch Art. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some images like the one you see here using a few simple techniques that anyone can do at home. Today the tool that I'm going to be using is called TextEdit. So let's take a look. So this is where we were last time. I was working with Audacity to do some audio effects, apply some audio effects to an image file and see what happened, and this is what happened. And this is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this result. It's a little bit chaotic or apocalyptic maybe, but I kind of like it. I want to show you what we can do with TextEdit, which is a little bit different. Now TextEdit is software that's meant to write documents, and it's not meant to work with images. So this is something that falls under the general category of data bending, I guess. You typically type in here. It is not a text editor like Sublime Text or Notepad++, which would be a code-based text editor. This is going to be editing rich text and formatting text, so it's not really useful as a text editor for code. But it is a kind of a lightweight document thing. If you just need a quick note or something, it's okay for that. It's equivalent to WordPad on Windows. But I really never use it, because if I'm going to write a document, I can use Google Docs or Microsoft Word. If I want to write code, I have Sublime Text for that. So I never actually have used this software, except for what I'm about to do today. So in this case, I think I found it's a little bit easier to make copies of the files first and then open them in TextEdit. And so what you may notice I have a copy of the original JPEG file and a copy of the bitmap file that I've been working on. The BMP file, you remember, is easier to work with in places where I need raw data, like I did for Audacity. But for TextEdit, the results are a little different. So I want to show you kind of how maybe it makes a little bit more sense to actually work with a JPEG if you're going to use the TextEdit method. So I'm going to open these files now. I just did Command O, I guess, to show it, make it a bit more visible. I'll go to File, Open, and I'll take a look at first the bitmap. So this is kind of like what I did with HexEdit, or the hex editor, HexFiend. It's going to encode this differently, so not all the characters will show up. Not the characters that showed up in the hex editor won't all be here. And so when I copy them or cut them, the characters that move into the clipboard and then that I'm now moving down here won't all be the same. I just saved that. Let's see if that made any difference yet. Yeah, just a tiny difference down near the bottom. Let's get a bigger chunk and see if I can actually I'm going to move kind of towards the middle of the file and do the same kind of thing I did with HexFiend, where I was just getting a huge chunk here. Shift-click to get a big chunk of it, and Command X to copy that to my clipboard, and then move it down in the file here in this kind of noisy area. It's a lot of text, and as you can see, TextEdit is kind of hanging a little bit as it tries to do this. But let's see what that does. Okay, not too bad. It is kind of like, really similar to the results I got with HexFiend actually. So, but not that new basically. It's fine. It's just not really that different. So let's see what happens if we do the same thing with a JPEG image. So again, using TextEdit, I'm going to go to File, Open, and then take a look at the original copy.jpg. And again, with the JPEG, you want to be real careful about the header. So I want to get kind of far down into this before I start doing the same kinds of things. But let's get a big chunk, Command X to move it onto my clipboard, and then scroll down a bit, and Command V. Just play with it, see what happens, see what you like. Let's see what happened there. Okay, that's kind of neat. Okay, yeah, I kind of got a result like this before. I kind of like what happens on the bottom. The top, the purple's fine. That's been going. A lot of these things end up kind of purple, but I like the weird ghostly image that you get down here, where there's kind of a yellow image of the foreground, and everything else turns into that pale green. It's a pretty neat effect. I think that would look better on the trees though, so I'm going to see if I can, maybe if I go back a bit to the original, if I can figure out how to do that just on the trees, I think that would be pretty cool. The thing is though, I don't know how I did that. I don't know what made that happen just now. So I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to grab a big chunk near the bottom of this file. It's not letting me scroll for some reason. So yeah, I'll get the top half of the image, I think, and then I'm going to move it up a bit. See what that does. That should be a lot of a change there. Oh, okay. But not really. It just sort of rearranged the structure of that. So that wasn't as dramatic of an effect as I'd liked. It sort of made this part fainter looking, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, okay, not that great. Let's take another kind of chunk from here, and then we'll try one more thing with this image. Do another kind of middle to the end kind of chunk, and then add this on the very end of the file. See what happens there. Did it change anything? Yeah, I don't think it did. Maybe there's something down there that looks new, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, that wasn't great. I'm not really thrilled with that result at all. I don't know how I did it before, but I did manage to get sort of the ghostly trees. But with glitch art, it's all like there's no direct relationship between what you do and what you see normally. So it's pretty hard to figure out what happened in that particular instance and recreate it. Okay, well, I want to do one more thing with TextEdit that I think is pretty useful. So since TextEdit is dealing with text, and we have text here that we can see, we can't really read it because it's encoded as it's image stuff encoded into text, and so it's not really meant to be text. But we can add human readable text to this, and I thought it might be fun to try that. So let's see. I'm going to get some human readable text from Project Gutenberg. Find something related to October. Okay, some of these are depressing, but this is this is good. I was working with this a little bit earlier, so I can confirm it is kind of interesting. This is a science fiction magazine, I think, and this story here is called Stolen Brains. So I'm going to take the text of this story, Stolen Brains, and I'm going to put it in here. I'm not doing the whole story just because I don't know. I don't want to scroll down that far. And so now in TextEdit, I'm going to just kind of drop this somewhere and see if adding this actual text to this file changes the imagery in any way that's interesting. I just dropped it in the middle. Let's see what happens. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm getting that ghostly effect again. It's not the part of the image that I wanted to ghost out, but it's kind of doing the same thing to that middle section. And this part right here, I think actually, so you can kind of see these speckled things. I think that's actually the text here showing up. But then what happens afterwards just has to do with how that data got shifted. And it looks pretty interesting there. But I think the actual story ends up somehow in here. That's sort of a guess, but that seems kind of like a reasonable thing to do or to have happen. Let's see if I put it down here, if I get that again. So another copy, is just Command V again. Yeah, you can see it way down here now. So that's pretty cool, I guess. Yeah, let's see what happens if I do it kind of up higher in the image. Up earlier in the image file, I should say. Okay, now it's getting pretty green. Yeah, this is what happened before when I started messing with JPEGs. Everything kind of went green, which might be the effect you're going for, and certainly that's an interesting one, and it definitely works. Okay, well, that was data bending with TextEdit. I think of the three techniques, this is probably the quickest and easiest one to get some weird results, but as you can see, the results are going to be kind of tuned into particular categories of like greeny looking like this, or just moving things around, which is fine, of course, but it's a little bit less chaotic in certain ways than working with Audacity, which gives you the more evenly distributed chaos, I guess. Different effects are available for that too. If you were going to be trying these, I would encourage you to try multiple techniques on the same image. That can get pretty messy, and so that's one of those things you have to do cautiously, but just like you can apply multiple edits in multiple effects in Audacity on the same file, or overlapping different parts of the same file, you can take this output image. I could take these images, I'm gesturing towards my computer, but you can take these images that you've already messed with one technique and then mess with them in another technique. These are still just images and they can still be tweaked. Of course, I think what works well for glitch art aesthetically is to have some semblance of the original, or some sense of form at least, so you can see what it used to be, so you can appreciate what it has now become better. But whatever makes you happy, that's the thing that's the most important when you're making art. So thanks for watching. I hope it helped. I will be making a new video soon about how to do some pixel sorting to make interesting glitch images with that technique. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a nice day.